Hey guys, it's Brandon Creative, Happily Dressed, a fashion blog dedicated to self-acceptance, self-confidence, and self-sufficiency, and welcome back to my channel. So this week I decided to challenge myself to something that I haven't done before, because pants are my little one-trick pony thing that I like to do. But I found this fabric at Goodwill. It's like an upholstery fabric, and I thought it'd be so cool to make a jacket out of it, and I almost didn't buy it because I was like, you're not gonna make a jacket, you haven't made a jacket yet. So I decided to challenge myself and make a cropped jacket, and it's lined, which is like something that I haven't even learned or seen, or basically it's lined. Which is something that I've also not done before. When it comes to like a jacket, I've lined a bag and stuff like that, but never lined a cool piece of clothing. So yeah, I made this jacket, super excited. I drafted the pattern from a crop jacket that I already had and used those pieces. Not necessarily step by step and like exact details, but just what I was thinking when I was doing it for the first time. And hopefully it'll give you some insight on how you can make your own crop jacket.
So here I'm cutting out all my pieces. Oh my god, I sound like I just woke up, and that's because I have. But I'm cutting out my sleeves, my collar, and some other pieces. It is also during this clip that I realized that for the fronts, I'd have to pattern match. And I wasn't too happy about that because I was like, oh, I'm gonna just cut this out real quick and it'll be fast and easy. But when you have to pattern match, it is not fast and easy. But here is me pattern matching. But honestly, I'm glad I did because it only elevated the look of the jacket. I also cut out the lining around the same time, and with the lining I just made it half an inch shorter than the regular pieces, so that way when I fold the hem I was able to just catch the lining in it without it being so chunky. Now I was on to the very boring part of serging all pieces, including the regular fabric and the lining.
Cool, that literally took like an hour of my time. But basically, everything is serged now. We have all pieces and lining. So we have two collar pieces, a back piece plus the lining, two fronts plus two linings, and then also two facings for the buttons and buttonholes. And then we have two sleeves and then two sleeve linings. So that is everything that we have right now. And it's about time that I start putting this stuff together.
Starting on the lining, I connected the two fronts and the backs together, wrong sides facing, so that when I sewed them, they would face the right way when I inversed it and put it into the jacket. But I also pressed out all the seams just to make it a better finish. I added the sleeves, also wrong sides facing, I believe. So that way everything would be on the right side. And that was the lining all done. I basically did the same thing to the front of the regular fabric without having to do the wrong sides facing. It was all right sides facing. Now, just because this was the outer edge of the jacket, so I could sew it like normal. I also pressed out the sleeves like I did the lining just for a better finish, and then connected the sleeve. Right here, I'm connected it the wrong way, but I connected it right sides facing and sewed it down. As you can see, I was running my mouth, so I was not paying close attention, and I ended up redoing it. At this point, I was just getting a feel for the length and like how the sleeve was gonna lay down. I was actually very satisfied with what I accomplished because the print was starting to look really cool as well. But basically what I did now was even out the top and the back, or the front and the back, just because in my pattern I really didn't do that. Don't know why. But then I sewed down the sleeve seam and the side seams.
Alright guys, so I actually have it all sewn together. My friends came over, so it's a lot later because they distracted me, but I was working on this steadily, just not as fast as I normally go. But I have it all constructed now, and I actually did the lining first, so the lining's been done. That actually took the most time to do, besides serging. And I know I got a lot of prints going on here. But very excited. I think now, though, that everything's together, I'm going to do the first half of the collar, then the facings, and then close it all up with the lining when I close the end of the collar. I think that's gonna work. I kind of got confused on this part when I was making the very first jacket, so the collar doesn't look that nice, but I'm a smart man, so hopefully I figured out.
Now on to the scariest part for me. I am attaching right sides facing the back of the collar to the outside of the jacket.
So this will be the last thing I do before I go, but I've gone ahead and sewed on the back of the collar, and I plan to stitch in the ditch to secure down the front of the collar. But first, the lining has to go in, so that way when I fold this down, it'll fold over the lining, and when I stitch in the ditch, it'll secure the lining here. But also before that, I need to go ahead and put the facing on. So with the last jacket, I did the facing first, then the collar, but then I got a weird split right here. But basically, now that I put the collar on first, I know where to take my facing. So like the collar starts here. So on the facing, I'm gonna start there and sew down and then down here. And that way this will flip over and go ahead and meet exactly where the collar will be. Cool, so I just actually finished the lapel part, not lapel, the facing, which is on there. Though I did realize that I ironed the collar the wrong way. You're supposed to like iron the collar to where the seam moves to the back of the collar so no one will see it. But I sewed it with the back facing up and I'm not taking it off. So I might have to try to re-iron it to see if I can position it differently. But it might mess with the understitching that I want to do. But I think it's definitely worth a try. Hi guys, it's the next day and I'm back now. I was at the gym this morning, believe it or not, and I had some other things to do. So this is how we left it yesterday. We attached the collar and the facing on the inside, which I'm excited about. And I think now it's time to try and put in the lining as well. So for the lining piece, I only cut out a back, 2 fronts, and some sleeves. So it's gonna connect up here. When I close the collar, the lining is going to fit right in there nicely. And then as well, when I top stitch here, it'll get caught. And then also in the sleeve, when I hem it, it'll get caught.
So basically doing what I said, I am just shoving the lining in the jacket and positioning it right so that way I can sew down everything I need to. I started with top stitching the facings and securing the lining that way. And I also did the sleeves. Next, I went ahead and secured the lining within the collar band by pinning it down so that way I could stitch in the ditch on the other side. I would have to remove my pins as I go, which was a nuisance, but it is okay. And in this clip, you can barely see what I'm doing because of my bad filming skills. Now we're basically almost finished. Now I am attaching the button and then hemming the garment. And then basically I'm done after this. I was just ready to get it over by this point just because it had taken me 4 days to get done. So I'm just hemming everything and wanting it to look all professional and nice. And people, we are all done. This is a jacket in its finished state and I am very proud with the way it turned out. That buttonhole was fresh. That's why I struggled so much getting it out.
It took me about 4 days to finish this jacket, and that's only because the first day I was kind of getting over it. The lining took me the longest to do, and only because it's tricky with the lining because you want to have sometimes your wrong sides facing each other when you sew down, and then other times your right sides facing. So that way when you flip the lining inside out into the jacket, all right sides are facing the outside of the jacket. So that took me a while to sew, and then I was kind of just over it by that point. And then the second day, my friends came over, so I got distracted. The third day, there was no power here, so I couldn't sew. Anyway, there was a stranger looking at me. And then finally, on the 4th day, I just came in, got it done, sewed my little 1 button. Shout out to anyone who follows me from Reddit on here, because you guys gave me the idea to do 1 button, because I posted like a progress photo on Reddit. And they were like, oh, I love the fact that it's 1 button. And I didn't intend it to be 1 button. But it actually was cool to just leave it at 1 button. A few things that I would change for the next time is adding a yoke to the back so that way it'll lay down a little bit flatter. And then also I'd increase the length because I have to wear like high-waisted for real pants, and I haven't worn those in a while to wear this jacket and it not look crazy. But I'm still very proud of the work I put in over these last 4 days. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. There is another one coming very soon about a little spring thrifting trip that I went on. That was really fun, and that one actually will probably come out a little bit after this one, just because it happened before this happened. I just haven't edited it yet, but that is another video to be looking out for. And to make sure you're always notified when I post a new video, you can hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell if you're feeling like it. Thank you so much for all the support you guys give me. And we hit 5,000 subscribers, which is crazy. But I'll see all 5,000 of you next week. See you guys later.